Squawk Talk.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Squawk Talk. I am one of your hosts, Kenan Clark, and joining me on the line is my buddy, Flip Dunsworth. Flip, first week of the playoffs are in the books. How do we feel?
Kenan, it's good to see you this week. We're feeling real good, getting close to Christmas, and Christmas and football, they're best buddies, just like you and me.
Just like you and me, baby. It's good to see you too. Let's get right into it. And my goodness, what a round one it was. What an exciting first round of the playoffs. We got the 4 and the 5th seed going up against each other, as well as the 3 and the 6. So let's go ahead and start it off with the 4 versus 5 seed. So we got the Gronk's Party Moved going up against Keep Comerica Great, and my, oh my, what a nail biter this one was. Let's talk about some missed opportunities on the side of Gronk's Party Moved, coming in just 1 point short of Keep Comerica Great's 107 points. Let's take a look at the Seahawks defense there, putting up a respectable 12 points, but if you watch this game up against the New York Jets, Flip, you saw that they had 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 interceptions, 3 dropped interceptions, that is, in that game. Any one of those would have put the team up over Keep Comerica Great's point total, and that is just a heartbreaker to experience that. It all came down to the final game on Sunday night between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Buffalo Bills. Juju Smith-Schuster just had to make up 10 points up on Deontay Johnson, that is, and while he also put up a respectable point total coming in at 17, he also just fell 1 point short. Can you believe it? Against Deontay Johnson's 8 points to bring the final point total to 107 to 106. A heartbreaker for Gronk's Party Moved, and Keep Comerica Great moves forward in the playoffs. Flip, what did you think about this matchup?
Yeah, if you look at my nails, they are thoroughly chomped on. This was so close. And I think the biggest thing to note here is from Gronk's Party Moved, where's the ceiling? Where are the big plays? Where are the splash scores? It's not something you're gonna see from a real championship hopeful contender, is these types of low scores across the board. Where's something that's really going to take you deep in the playoffs? That's what we didn't see out of Gronk's Party Moved. And we do see that from some of the players on the other side of the ball and Keep Comerica Great again. But I'm going to tell you that he's going to need more than 107 to go up against his next foe as he continues on into the playoffs.
That's absolutely right.
Let's keep it moving here and move over to the other game of the week. This was a WWE style smackdown of Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto, say quantitative easing, putting up a $170 on his opponent. Now, as I predicted, the Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill stack was going to be juicy, full of maple syrup and a lot of touchdowns and points. And there was someone on the other side of the ball who came calling. Derrick Henry ate up that fat stack of pancakes, but it was like Golden Corral. The pancakes just kept coming out of the kitchen. Jonathan Taylor, Robbie Anderson, Robert Tonyan even got in on the action. And that was even after the Rams defense had put up 20 points, which is a huge score for the defense on the Thursday night game. So this was it was like a barn burner, but one of the teams forgot to burn the barn. So it was a total smackdown by, say, quantitative easing. You have any comments here, Kenneth?
Yeah, similar to what you were saying before, Flip. If you take a look at those point totals on Domo Arigato's side, you see a lot of single digits. That's just not going to get it done for you at this stage of the fantasy season. As we move into the playoffs, you really need some big double-digit scores consistently across the board to get you into the next round, and we just didn't see that consistently enough from Andrew's side.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. He
Yep.
falls out, and say quantitative easing moves along. So let's keep you going with predictions, little review for what's coming up this week. We've got 5th seed Keep Comerica Great going up against the powerhouse, the number 1 seed, the boogeyman, a broken Kittle cooking, coming in with that 12-1 impressive regular season record. Had that first round bye, and my goodness, look at this lineup. It is stacked. Aaron Rodgers, Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb, DK. I could go on and on down that list. There isn't a single hole I can poke. I mean, this is a truly tuned up and ready to go playoff roster. On the other side, we got Keep Comerica Great, who has put up some impressive point totals throughout the regular season, and he's going to need that kind of performance to come along for this week, certainly. That 1-2 punch that we've talked about before, Alvin Kamara and Aaron Jones, only one of those 2 punches showed up last week. Alvin Kamara put up a 20-plus point performance, but Aaron Jones was nowhere to be seen. There's an interesting dynamic there between Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones. Whose game is it going to be this week? That could very well determine the outcome of this 5-1 matchup. Besides that, Flip, Keep Comerica Great. This could be a real Cinderella story for them, or the clock could strike midnight for them. We'll see. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a great take. My prediction would be that potentially Harrison Butker maybe takes a turn slapping the base, but for the rest of the lineup, I see a broken Kittle Cookins team showing up and showing out and moving on to the final. Now, I think Cinderella has an outside chance here. Aaron Jones, Mike Evans, Justin Jefferson, Deontay Johnson, for sure. These are players, especially this wide receiver core, that has a high ceiling, and they could have some big games here. But the heavy favorite has to be a broken Kittle cooking.
I think I agree with you there, Flip, for sure.
Let's take it on into the other semifinal matchup here, and that would be say quantitative easing going up against the number 2 seed Polar Solar. And what we've seen all season from Polar Solar is that they are heavily dependent on the Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett stack. When the Seahawks fly, so does Polar Solar. Their record is almost even the same as the Seahawks record. They got some. They did pick up Cam Akers in free agency this week, and he could be a shot in the arm to this team. And Stephon Diggs also represents some serious upside for Polar Solar. But the question is, how will the Seahawks offense stack up against the Washington defense? And I think that will really impact things. On the other side of the ball, I think if, say, quantitative easing puts up a $170 again, then he'll be in good shape. But it's unclear if that consistency is going to be there, or if potentially he's going to regress to the mean. Jonathan Taylor, Robert Tonyan, Kareem Hunt, Robbie Anderson. These are players that have had good weeks in the past, but not players that have consistently put up high numbers week over week. So we'll see how this game comes out. I think this is going to be the closer of the 2 games this week.
I agree with you there. I think it's stacks on stacks. Which stack is going to pile up points higher this week? Who is hungrier? We'll find out. Is it going to be Patty Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, or Russell Wilson, the perennial runner-up MVP, and the Seattle Seahawks? That is to be seen, and that could very well determine the winner of this semifinal matchup between say quantitative easing and Polar Solar.
I'm hungry personally to eat some football this weekend. See how these stacks are going to stack up against each other.
That's right. Eating the old pigskin, one of my favorites.
It's kind of chewy, but there's some good recipes out there. You know what, Cannon? I'll send you some recipes that I've been using to eat some pigskin lately.
I'd love that. A good quarantine hobby that I picked up, cooking a little bit, experimenting in the kitchen, the old pigskin, get it in there. Sounds pretty good.
Yep. Well, folks, we'll see you next week after these semifinal games. This is a super exciting time, and we hope you stay tuned here on Squawk Talk.
That's right. Thanks for joining, folks. We'll see you next time on Squawk Talk.
Squawk Talk.